The next presenter is Richard Fournier of the University of Sherbrooke, the Department of Applied Geomatics. Richard is very well known by several people here. He's been working with LiDAR for several years, a very long time, and he's going to talk to us about his work. A project that is ongoing is called AWARE, and its goal is to develop tools, LiDAR tools for forestry. Benoît Saint-Onge and Richard are part of this project. Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Yes, when I was preparing my presentation, I thought perhaps the most interesting thing to do would be to take some time to describe the project. We've had several examples yesterday of partners that are participating in AWARE. So how did it start? Give an academic perspective. Give you an introduction to know where we're going, what are the options, possible options. I'm tempted to give you technical details on the ongoing project and the potential perspectives, but I'm going to be very brief about that. So AWARE, we hear it. What is it? It's assessment of wood attributes using remote sensing. So we see that we put a lot of emphasis on LiDAR technology. How can it be introduced into new practices, new methods for spatial analysis, and how can we make it more efficient? This work is a result of several years of discussion with our academic partners, the Department of Forestry, the Canadian Wood Fibre Centre. They're all part of this initiative. We want to link the efforts, the private and public sector efforts, and the specialists. We want to bring all these actors together. People from the university environment. How can we all together work together to develop new methods? So it's very important. We were able to bring a project to the table that is very important, and you will see that. So it's a history of participation. Academia, often we're in our silo, but in geomatics, we have to have partnerships with people in the field, people that are doing research. It's a synergy. We want to bring these actors together for this project. So the industry partners are in the center of this project. The needs of the industry are expressed. Of course, there are universities, the federal government, the provincial agencies. They've suggested questions, but it's the issues surrounding these questions that the industry expressed its needs and let us know who they wanted to work with, and that's how we reached this partnership. So who are these partners? Because that's in the center of this project. So we have AFP Innovation. Each of these partners gave us $50,000 a year, so it's a considerable investment to introduce LiDAR technology into the forestry industry. So these are the partners that really started the discussion and made everything possible. Let's go from east to west, randomly. There's the Kruger Company in pulp and paper. They saw the potential. One of the studies that we did over the past years, we looked at the quality of the wood fiber. So it was a very important challenge. We said we wanted quality maps of wood fiber quality. We wanted to know the quality of the wood fiber to optimize our productivity. So we're always very optimistic as researchers. And it was surprising to find out that we had excellent results. It was new. This had rarely been done on a national scale. We had an amazing amount of data. We had 2,000 carats, and they were impressed. They said, "You have nice maps. It's very nice." They said, "Is this actually precise?" So they went in the field and they verified the information with the fir trees, and they were flabbergasted. They couldn't believe how precise the information was. So they came back and they said, let's go further with LiDAR technology. We're going to go further than wood fiber. Let's start thinking about operationalization. And I'm talking about the partners that are the most involved at GDA Irving, Kruger, GDA Irving. They did a workshop last winter. There were representatives from the whole country. And what they showed us was very eloquent, very interesting. As a researcher, it was very interesting to be able to participate in that workshop, to see how technically we can apply these exercises to our work. And then in Ontario, there was Tembec, who associated themselves with Columbia in Ontario. And then out west, there's a West Fraser, who is our partner. We have 7 universities, 11 researchers. The experts on LiDAR were chosen generally by the partners. They wanted these experts to work on their issues. It's not all the experts from Canada that are there. We're talking about Laura, Chris Atkinson. They're very well recognized in the community. Martin, who was a teacher, a professor at that time, he didn't participate in this project. Shaman Haper, who is a participant, but in all these projects, they didn't choose, the industry didn't choose their projects, but there are people, it's not exclusive to AWARE. There's a lot of room to continue working with other researchers. It's very important to mention the participation of the provincial agencies that are participating in the effort. It's very interesting to see that there are no partners that are from Quebec in AWARE. Several have been asked to participate, but perhaps they didn't have the opportunity at that time. But we feel through this workshop that perhaps the interest is there now in Quebec. There's a junction between academia, provincial and federal governments, and so this is a very important junction. New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Alberta, Quebec, British Columbia, and Ontario. Of course, the Institute on Northern Hardwoods, and Natural Resources Canada, Canadian Forest Service. We have to bring these projects together. There are 3 themes. We wanted national methods, we wanted regional inventory, and so we had three themes. Very importantly, I was talking to Laura about it. It's easy to have pretty maps in geomatics. And we were laughing about this. So I was working for the federal government. We got the impression that they wanted pretty maps to hang up behind their offices. So we show our students how to make these pretty maps. But validated maps that actually mean something, are hard to establish. And this is what we want to implement with our methods. And this is, we're going to insist on our training sites. Here you see theme number 1, national issues. Theme 2, operational and strategic management. Theme 3, plot level inventory. So I'm going quite fast, but you can see that we established a 4th theme, a transversal cross-cutting theme, cross-cutting against the other themes. Different people are taking care of different themes. I forgot to mention that the person that's in charge of the project is Nicholas Coops from the University of British Columbia. He's at the head of the AWARE project. And for the themes, Nicholas is taking care of theme 1. And I'm working on the 3rd and the 2nd, and I'm validating my own work. And the last theme, the cross-cutting theme, is with the Benoit Saint-Onge. Here I'm going to go very, very fast over the themes. At first, we had the intention of having several national projects and having different methods for each project. But we realized that the industry had a different opinion. After all, we only had 3 projects. You can see the center. The industry wants operational projects on hydrology, mapping, growth, and classifying ecosystems. These are the 4 themes that were predominant. And this is my math where I validate my own work. So we're using, we want to improve the models of growth. And then we have the cross-section theme. Look at the 3 blue shapes. In AWARE, we put the emphasis on identifying species. It's very strong in several methods, but a weakness is not being able to identify the species, so AWARE put a lot of emphasis on this. Originally, there were 3 projects for using drones to see how LiDAR and drones could be integrated into the project. The industry partners were not very enthusiastic about using drones, and there was a discussion. A last project is on the best practices to bring all this together. Another point, here you see the distribution throughout the 4 provinces of the experimental sites. These sites are very important, and there's a lot of effort and an emphasis that was put on adjusting and validating the projects. So when we start a new project, it's very important to crystallize the efforts together to be able to validate efficiently. Distribution. You can see that the projects were distributed at UBC, Sherbrooke, Queens, and all that, according to expertise. And that depends on the person who's taking charge of the project. So each expert, each 25 projects of AWARE has a researcher that's at the head of that project. If there are people here that are interested in the issues that we are looking at, I can send you the list of the 25 issues that we are working on, and we can create collaboration. This can be advantageous for everyone. So this is a slide It wasn't in the original project, but not everyone knows the steps for the implementation of such a project. So we have the NSERC, Natural Science and Engineering Research Council, a federal agency that funds a project. So sometimes our researchers are confused because we have different terms. The CRDC, CRSNG. The NSERC often gives double what we get from other agencies. Up to $3.1 million over 5 years from 2015 to 2012. So what are the benefits of these projects? We can explain them in 3 elements, 3 components. This will allow us to get expertise, to have theses for master's degree and PhD students. This is very important, and it's often underestimated, the expertise that's in demand, and it's not always available. Another thing I wanted to insist upon is that there are annual meetings. The first one will be in Newfoundland at the end of May, and at the end of each annual meeting, everyone's invited, and it will be the next one will be in the East, so perhaps in Montreal or Fredericton, and that will be in 2017. Everyone's invited to participate. We'll have a national forum to share information, methods for students. This is a way of learning and to put all our knowledge together. We cannot ignore the fact that AWARE, because it's transnational, we look at many different subjects, and it's an environment that's positive for developing methods and discussing and having exchanges. So that's the AWARE portion. Now you know a little bit more what it's about. Those 25 projects are quite spread out theme-wise. On my end, I have a project on mapping, and I'd like to just go over it briefly. I won't go into the technical aspects, I wouldn't have time, but I'd like to tell you about certain aspects where we've had a lot of success. This is a project in AWARE. Murray was talking about in Ontario. They have waves with LiDAR technology. In Quebec, we don't have any. They're saying it's going to take a few years before we're able to map the entire territory. Is it possible to take the information that we have and to the information that we have on the different patches and to apply it on a greater scale? Surprisingly, we're looking at ecological services, habitat, the structure of the forest. We have several projects, and it's interesting to see the evolution of the structure of the forest. And this is a partnership with the provincial government. And we'd like to look at large surfaces. How are management decisions in forestry having an impact on continued productivity in forestry? We're looking at management questions. And then drones. How can a LiDAR on a drone contribute to the information that we have? This is something we're looking at. It's an ongoing research project. And the evolution of forest attributes, having predictive models. This is something that will take form over the next few years. And then we're also looking at the quality of the wood fiber, and we're looking at the quality of different woods. This is related to lumber. So potential projects. So I thought it might be interesting to mention to you certain issues that we could explore. I'd like to bring an image into your mind. LiDAR could be seen as a jungle. If we're not inside of it, we just see the beginning of questions. But an old gorilla like myself, who has been in the LiDAR jungle for almost 15 years, we're inside the forest and we see the different questions that might be interesting to look further into. Often on an operational level, we can look at ecosystemic services, habitat. These are things that can have an effect, a tangible effect, a tangible impact on the quality of wood, wood fiber attributes. So we're starting to have the capacity to see these things that we couldn't see before. Airborne LiDAR technology, I talked a little bit about terrestrial LiDAR. LiDAR is going to be on many different platforms. It's more and more adapted to the needs of the industry. We cannot neglect the fact that we have to do trials. Certain LiDARs are available already. It's been mentioned in several other presentations, but the challenges of bringing multi-source information together, aerial photography, LiDAR information, how can we optimize all this spatial information that we have? How can we put it together into one project and optimize the way that we process this information? So these are the kind of practical questions when we're in the jungle. It's worth asking the question. It's worth looking into. So that sums it up. I took a few more minutes than I was supposed to. I'm sorry to Jean-François. I took a little bit of his time. So I just want to mention one last project that I'm very interested. Jean-François, it's his thesis. He's simulating trees. It almost sounds a little crazy. It's very artistic. But this is an approach that's very practical. How far can we go when we're reproducing the image of a forest? How detailed can we get with these images? We can use airborne LiDAR to complement the effort done by the people who are working in the field. And that can increase our mapping potential. So some people will say, "Oh, they want to take us out of the field." No. We can put a lot of effort on different elements. I remember Jean-Pierre Letourneau was saying, yes, you can easily add $1 million just by adding one aspect. I feel the pressure. He knows that I like to talk. So, just to let you know, this brings my presentation to an end. I hope that you understand LiDAR technology a little more. This is very fascinating. These research projects are very fascinating, and I think they're going to bring all the different aspects of mapping together.